Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming today to the November 17th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting. Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The board met in executive session on October 28th to discuss personnel and litigation matters. And then the board met in executive session again today before this meeting to discuss personnel and litigation matters. I now turn it over to Chief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You're all aware, Sergeant Michael Sample retired at the end of this year, next year. So in order to keep continuity, police department, we're recommending that we hire a police officer to be trained sufficiently in order that there's no impact to public safety or minimal manpower. So we have identified and recommend that Joe Limpo, who meets all police certification requirements and is eligible to be administered the oath of office for entry level police officer, be sworn in tonight.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve swearing in of Rachel Olimpo to entry-level police officer?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And Bill, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Let's proceed. Hey, good evening.
All the people that were there when I started, are starting to retire. And the next generation's coming in, if that doesn't make the person feel old. We're in Rachel, so. Repeat after me. I, Rachel Olimpo.
I, Rachel Olimpo,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and that I will enforce the laws of this Commonwealth
and that I will enforce the laws of this Commonwealth
and the ordinances of New Britain Township,
and ordinances of New Britain Township,
and that I will discharge my duties of my office as police officer,
and that I will discharge my duties of my office as police officer
for New Britain Township with honor and fidelity.
for New Britain Township with honor and fidelity.
I do further swear that I will uphold, obey, and enforce
I do further swear that I will uphold, obey, and enforce
the law without consideration to a person's race, color, sex,
the law without consideration to a person's race, color, sex,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
age, national origin, ancestry,
age, national origin, ancestry,
handicap, or disability.
handicap, or disability.
Congratulations, officer.
No one's for certain.
It's gonna be, he should be an old hand at this. How many has he pinned on? How many has
It's a uniform, so can't get through there.
Ah.
Yes, newer, thicker uniforms.
Congratulations. Oh, yeah. Just. Oh, do we all want to go down?
Yes. Second female officer.
Usually do.
Come down. Yes.
Okay. Nice picture. Great. Oh.
Everyone enjoy your holidays if I don't see you.
Thank you.
We will see you in the new year.
I'm not excited to be here.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh, okay.
All right.
He's good.
It's like nervous. All right.
Let's get one of those. Yeah. Well, nothing terrible.
Okay. All right, we are moving on to our next agenda item, motion to consider consent agenda. A, approve minutes of October 20th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting, approve minutes of October 28th Board of Supervisors meeting, approve regular bills list dated October 30th in the amount of $27,983.29, dated November 12th in the amount of $81,208.70, approved prepaid bills list dated October 23rd in the amount of $374,518.36. You were hoping that was a real number. October 30th in the amount of $21,418.10. November 6th in the amount of $19,582.82. November 12th in the amount of $10,626.84, and approve escrow release number 13, final to Hallmark Homes, Mill Ridge, in the amount of $84,970.84. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Stephanie, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mary Beth, although, any questions from the board? No. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, action items we are on to. Dan, consider a motion to approve the preliminary 2026 budget.
Thank you. Tonight, we're going to present some highlights of the 2026 budget. The proposed 2026 budget is preliminary at this point. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'll wait for the PowerPoint.
Yep.
Chief, could you get the lights?
Walk slow.
Give Alex a minute. No pressure, Alex.
Is it the ones back there?
Be back
I
there.
think there's some in the back of the room.
Oh, the back to make it dimmer.
We'll make him work at it.
Kill all but the two.
There we go.
That's good. Thank you. Now I can't read. Sorry, I'll just make it up as I go along. Just to give you an idea, we've preliminary budget, we actually, the timeline of the budget, it shows here that we start in August of this past year. In actuality, the budget is a year-round process. For the first quarter of 2025, we were closing out the 24 budget. So it is a year-round event. Beginning in April of 2025, we start preparing for the 26 budget by monitoring the 25 budget. We start looking for trends and things that are going on, trying to see what's happening just so we're ahead of it. See if there's any anomalies that are showing up. But we start monitoring really closely with our end of the first quarter report for 2025 to prepare the 26 budget. In August, we had the department heads prepare their budgets. And we sat down with them, Kristen, Alex, and myself sat down with each of the department heads and went through their request. In September, we had our first budget workshop, which all the department heads came before the board, presented their budgets, basically focusing mostly on their capital request. And I'll get into the why of that in a little bit. After that meeting, we worked further to refine the budget And we met again in October with our second workshop. At that point in time, the board went through all the capital requests and decided what was going to stay in the preliminary budget at this point in time and what was coming out. The department, and I'd like the department heads all did a great job of putting their information together, justifying their request. And they're like, it's like, you know, you don't get everything you want every year, but there's always a reason. There's nothing that's on there just because. It's on there because it needs to be done or needs to be purchased. And they're very cognizant of that fact. And that brings us to November, where we're at now. We have prepared the preliminary budget and we're ready to offer it for adoption tonight. It's basically approval of the preliminary budget. Once we approve it, then it becomes available to the public and it'll be available for public inspection starting tomorrow. And it'll be available until we adopt the final budget, which is scheduled for December 15th. We can still make some changes to it as long as no item moves more than 10%. There are still some tweaks left. We haven't plugged in the new assessment number yet. And that won't affect expenses, but it will affect revenue. We anticipate our revenue number to go up. We've kind of know what the number is going to be, but we're waiting to get the end of November assessment just so we catch everything. But we're very confident that our real estate tax base is going up for 2026. We anticipate probably like 2 to 3% increase, but once we get it, we'll know. So next slide. The budget, we try and focus on fiscal responsibility. We want to make sure we're funded and we want to make sure we can keep the current levels of service. And this budget does that. Again, nobody's unrealistic on what they expect. The chief didn't come in and say, give me 4 more officers. I'm sure he'd be happy to get 4 more officers, but he did not because he knows that it's not fiscally responsible and the current level of staffing does what they need to do. So in that regard, our department heads really focus on their jobs and try and work within a fiscal restraint. One of the biggest responsibilities we have and the board has is we are stewards of the money that the residents pay us, pay the township in taxes, and we need to spend it responsibly. We have a fiduciary responsibility to spend the money responsibly, and we do that. And we strive to do that all the time. We always look to make sure what we're doing is what we need to do. It's not extra above and beyond, although we'll give above and beyond service. We don't do things that are going to cost a lot of money because it'd be a great thing to do. So our revenue sources. Earned income tax is our largest revenue source. In our general fund, it makes up about 51% of our revenue. The 511 taxes in real estate makes up about 22% of our revenue. And then the rest is the miscellaneous, but most of that, a large part, I would say about 14% of that comes from the real estate transfer tax and the building permits. And I'll throw building permits all together, being plumbing, electrical, just say building permits. That basically makes up the lion's share of our revenues. So we are constrained where we get money from. But our 2 major sources are the earned income tax collection and the real estate. And you can see we're very dependent on earned income tax. Our real estate tax collection or 511 taxes is not even half of what we get out of earned income. When we budgeted earned income tax this year, we did include a 3% increase. Just because cost of living, salaries are going up, and that the trend is about a 3% each year, which we have not factored in, which we'll see an impact when we do 27's budget, is the new construction that has been going on, because we'll get an actual track record of what the number is, what that difference is above the 3%. When I budget, I am conservative. I don't want to set unrealistic numbers that we can't hit from revenue side. I'm not overly conservative, but I am conservative. Again, I've always said that a good budget, I collect 105% of revenues and I spend 95% of expenditures. So I try and be realistic on the numbers we're going to get. Like, we can't control transfer taxes. It's above and beyond our control. So we have to, that if we are too big on that, it could be a hit. So we, again, even though in this year, we're going to exceed budget by a lot, I'm not budgeting that same number for next year because I don't know if we're going to do that again. I don't know how many houses are going to sell. So I try and take that into consideration to build a sound budget that is realistic. So our operating expenses are basically 87% are fixed costs, and that's salaries, benefits, utilities, just the things that we have to do. We really don't have a lot of discretion in our operating budgets, about 13%. And that is supplies, general expenses. Some would say repairs to vehicles. I say that's a fixed cost because we have to do it. Because if we don't fix the vehicle, then we're going to be replacing it. So, but we don't have a lot of leeway inside the budget to make some significant cuts without reducing personnel. That's the only real way you can make a significant dent in that number. So, and we're keeping current staffing levels. We're not adding anybody. So again, it's nice to put the budget together. Where you really have the flexibility is in the capital and what you do there. How many police cars we get? What do we do for public works? That's where the choices are made. But in our operating budgets, we don't have a lot of room to move around. Next. So the millage history, I'm very happy, and I haven't talked on this yet, is that this budget proposes no new taxes, no tax increase, no real estate tax increase. As you can see from the history, we did raise last year by 2 mills. No, we actually, 1.5 mills, I'm sorry.
1.5. 1.5.
I'm sorry. I remember I asked for 2, but I only got 1.5. But the township is actually very conservative in their tax increase because they do realize that it does have an impact. But we do need to keep an eye on where we're at with real estate taxes. Again, we're constrained by our revenues. We only get X. So, but we have to keep up with all the other factors. So, but this year, there's no tax increase in the 2026 budget that I'm proposing.
Dan?
Yes,
Are you going to say how much a mill would?
the average taxpayer is on the next page.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say.
The average taxpayer pays $632 a year.
Yep.
In real estate taxes. That doesn't include obviously earned income tax but in real estate tax, the average taxpayer is $632. And we've also shown here how the millage is broken out by the different funds. Obviously, our biggest fund is our general fund, and that's where the most support goes. But we do spread it out to the different funds we have. And the reasoning behind that is we want those funds to cover their own cost. When we buy equipment or we do a project that normally comes out of capital. However, we have a capital in park, but they pay for the mowers and so forth. So we make sure that each fund covers its share. And the ones that are zeros, like, I'm trying to see. And we don't, never mind. Liquid fuels isn't on there, but that's okay. So, pardon me? That's,
Debt service capital in.
Infrastructure.
yeah. So again, you can see the breakdown by the various funds. Next slide. This is one that I think every municipality in the Commonwealth puts up, where a tax dollar goes. The average homeowner's tax dollar, 8 cents comes to the township out of each dollar you pay in taxes. We like to brag about this one. The school district hates this slide, but we love it. So you can see the county gets about 15 cents and the school district gets 77 cents. hey, if we can make ourselves look good, we do. Just being honest. And here's a summary of all of our funds. The budget as proposed, the principal is 11,134,000 and some change. I can't see those last numbers. I'm sorry. I apologize. Again, for a town our size, it's a very reasonable budget. We are able to accomplish all of the activities and have the facilities, the parks, with that money. Again, we look at each dollar, we value each dollar, and we will continue to do so. Next one. Our financial stability is very important to us. So our reserve for general is just a little bit over $3 million. Our reserve for capital is just shy of 2, and our restricted reserve is 8.1. Restricted reserve is the open space fund, liquid fuels, ones that have anchors on them that we can't spend for anything we want. So it's important that you have reserve funds because you need to be able to still operate if something were to happen. And say the economy goes completely south and there is no real estate tax, there's no transfers next year. Mortgage rates go to 16%, God forbid. But I remember when they were there in the early 80s. I remember them too. But if that were to happen, that's a $600,000 hole we'd have to plug in our budget. Now, chances are it won't happen. But during the pandemic, things happened. Earned income tax kind of stagnated during that period. So you just have to have those reserves in place. And our reserves are reasonable. They are not unreasonable. The only large one is restricted, and that's because of the open space fund. But our reserves protect us from emergencies, but still allow us to operate and pull money out when we need to. So what's next? Well, we're asking the board tonight to adopt a preliminary budget. Once that's done, like I said earlier, the full budget will be available for public inspection. And final budget adoption will be on December 15th. Just some comments about the budget overall. As the board knows, over the past 2 years, we've made changes to the formatting of the budget. One of the things that I think is important is to be able to present numbers that are readable and understandable. There's nothing wrong with the budgets that were done before. They were accurate. It was just the way they were presented. So over the past 2 years, we've refined the presentation. We kept some pieces from the old budget and changed the formatting. And it was a 2-year process. It's even different than it looked last year because last year was our first attempt at it. This year, we refined it. I think it's a really easy budget to read. And in 27, I feel the numbers are the most important part of the budget, and that's what we focused on. In 27, we're going to focus on the words that tell the story of the budget, the charts and the graphs that will go with it. And so that'll all be part of the 2027 budget. Because now I think we have a format that is good and solid. To be perfectly honest, the same format I've used for the last 20 years. To me, it just is a very simple and easy to read. And we went and we looked at surrounding towns formats. And this is basically Doylestown Township and Doylestown Boroughs format. They use the same one. I think we all got, and that's probably because of John Davis and Stephanie Mason were all the same vintage, and we all got the same budgeting.
I won't repeat that to Stephanie.
But anyway, I'll be happy to answer any questions about the budget, but it's before the board tonight for adoption of the preliminary budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you to the whole staff that have worked on this. I know Kristen, Alex, and all the department heads have done a lot of work in getting it to
They
this.
did. It's certainly a team effort, and the team includes all the department heads and the board. It's a collaborative effort. And without everybody working together, we wouldn't be at this point.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Any questions from the board? comments from the board?
No,
No?
thank you for your work on this and
Um,
I may reserve to make some additional.
Pardon me?
I may reserve to make some additional,
Oh, I know you will.
but nothing major, just.
Yeah.
I know.
we like to tweak it.
Hey,
Will you have this, a PowerPoint presentation available on the website as well to go hand in hand with the budget?
Yep.
Do I need to make a motion
I'm
before we?
sorry, I just have one comment to make. I'm sorry. When you were talking about revenue, the earned income tax revenue increasing by 3%, you did say the earned income tax would, we knew you were talking about revenue. I just want to make it clear to
Oh.
residents that the earned income tax is not increasing by 3%.
no, it's the collection.
We're looking at the collection and the revenue we will collect
Right.
will increase.
No, the earned income tax level stays the same with
Just
what
what
we
we actually collect.
what we actually collect will increase just because of wage growth. Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the preliminary 2026 budget?
So moved.
Bill, do I have a second?
Second,
Bridget? Any questions from the board? No? Are there any questions from the public? If there are, please come forward to the microphone, state your name, address, and your question, please. Chief is just getting us all well lit.
I want to go in front of Chief. Mary Margaret Briggs, 245 Forest Park Drive, Chalfont. Only question I have is about the earned income tax. I did notice in 2025, there was quite a deficit in what we estimated we would bring in and what has been collected. Quite a deficit, like over $700,000. And I'm kind of wondering
I'm not
if
sure
we're,
I saw that.
in the meeting packet? In the meeting packet. I don't know if it's an error, but I'll go get my phone and I'll tell you what page it's on.
Could be under the finance report.
But it's so you're looking at year-to-date collection.
Year to date,
Right.
and it was,
We get about $800,000 a quarter.
it still was showing that there was a deficit. I'll tell you the page number.
We can talk afterwards, but there isn't.
So the final quarter of the earned income tax would be paid in January.
Well, actually, we get payments throughout the month. But it settles up in the beginning of January. We get the last payment for, yeah.
Earned income tax.
Yep.
I'm looking.
I'm not checking.
Through October, we have 2.7 million. Our budget is 3.4.
Right.
So yes, there's 700,000 difference,
But that's,
but we still have October, November, December.
If Ms.
If-
Briggs is done, are you?
Yep.
Okay.
Please come forward, state your name and address.
Deborah Don, 70 Keller Road. My question is on employee salary or increases. Police, what percentage was increased?
3.5% by contract,
Okay, and the non-uniform?
3.5%.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Terry Young, 77 on Walter Road. My question is, how do we measure the success of our budget against other townships, or do we measure that? So in other words, per capita, is our expenditure in line?
They are.
I mean, is there some process we have that we can actually display similar types of townships or municipalities to see what we're spending money on relative to what they're spending money on, what we're bringing in relative? So I think there's, you really have to be able to measure against other entities to really determine whether we're doing a good job or not. That's the question.
I understand, and every town doesn't line up exactly, so, but when we look at the town, again, it has to do with the number of employees you have, whether they have a police department, whether, there are all those factors that go into comparing town to town to town. What you can compare to a certain degree is the tax, the real estate taxes, the millage level. But again, their assessed values in other towns are different. The assessed value here could be X. If you take that up to Upper Makefield, it could be Y. So why they may have 4 mills, their 4 mills might equal our 16 mills just because of the difference in assessed value. And I just pick a town out of the blue. So it's really hard to get apples and apples, but you can get different varieties of apples, if that makes sense.
Would be some value.
Hey.
I'm not critiquing.
No, I know. No, it's,
I'm just saying there could be some value for us to do that.
we do monitor what the other towns are doing. And I would say we are, for the most part, right in the middle of the pack in the county. We're and towns our size, and I consider our size between 10 and 15,000 people. We're probably right at the median.
I think from just a standpoint of the average Joe, that might be something that the average taxpayer might.
And that's something we can put into when we do the words that describe the budget for 27, we'll certainly take a look at that. Thank you.
I think he's trying to get to the point of, are we efficient without?
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's a very hard thing to quantify. State your name and address, please.
Good evening, Rob Livesey, 314 Dorothy. My question is on your reserves, and you had 3 different reserves. Who determines the level of reserves? And
So we strive to get at least a 30% reserve on our operating general, and we're
30% of your annual budget.
right.
And that was the first reserve.
That was
which
the
is
first one.
General,
Capital there is no set in stone number. And that varies because projects could be bigger or smaller. In this budget that we're proposing, we have a stormwater project that's going to run over 4 years. That's going to cost over $1 million. So that's going to draw down that number. And then for the restricted reserve, it's restricted because we can only use it for certain items. The open space fund has about $7 million by itself sitting in it, and it can only be spent on open space acquisition and maintenance of that property that's been acquired. The other portion of that is liquid fuels, which we get from the state, which can only be used for road maintenance, and that's about $400,000 we have in reserve there. And that's in case a road totally, we get a sinkhole, we get something like that, we can jump in and do it. So there's no magic number that sets the amount. But what I will tell you from being one of my prior lives, I was in the bond business and I did municipal bonds for school districts, municipalities, and authorities. And we looked at reserve amounts to determine credit rating. And prudent numbers are above 25% for general and about 50% for capital. So you can react when you need to.
So does spending against operating reserves, any of them require board approval?
If we go into a reserve, yes.
You go in reserve.
Yeah.
And my last question is, will your 2025 budget balance?
We anticipate it will, yeah. We're looking at it. We look like we're going to pull in a little bit more in revenue than we anticipated, and we're going to spend less than we anticipated.
And what happens with the excess?
That goes into the reserve.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
I was going to say another document that is also good to understand the health of the township would be our audit, which they're starting to do 2025's audit.
2025 audit will start in December, just to do the pre-work, and then it picks up in full in January and January and February, and it's wrapped up March, April.
Are the prior audits on the website?
Yes.
Okay.
If you really want some good, hard, heavy reading, go for it.
Definitely won't put you to sleep at all. It's very interesting.
Are there any more questions from the public? No. So we have the motion on the table to approve. So I will call the question. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye.
I,
Motion passes. Thank you very much, staff.
Thank you.
Okay, action item B, consider a motion to advertise the sewer use ordinance. Scott?
Yes. Second. There we go.
Okay.
I'll get it back. There we go. All right. So last month, John and Joe were here to introduce their plan, revamping the sewer ordinance. The two main parts of it obviously were the sewer lateral inspection program as well as the industrial commercial waste disposal part. And I think from the board standpoint, some of the questions they asked and the staff's review, the important part more was looking at the sewer lateral inspection program, as it will be something new, something different, something added to the ordinance that you didn't have. Whereas looking at the pretreatment standards for industrial and commercial waste, it's just updating those to current standards and everything like that. Looking through it, obviously, the staff took a look at it first, and I appreciate their input, especially because something I don't normally look at is the administrative side of things. How is it going to affect them as a staff? What's going to be done? Obviously, the idea behind it is, I'm selling my house. I get my sewer lateral running from my house to the main, televised, so we can see if there's any damage, anything that needs to be corrected. That gets turned over to the authority. They review it and can provide the guidance. But there is the administrative side standpoint for the township, as we're the ones issuing the permits, doing the UNO inspections, as well as on the other side of that, if there are any violations, making sure there's follow-up and things like that for the issuance of permits. So it is something that some of our other clients have done as well. Bristol has one. It's had one for a few years, Bristol Township, that is. Warminster Township passed one last year. The biggest issues we've seen with that is you do get some complaints about an additional fee, part of the UNO inspection, and some of these repairs can be costly. But with that, that sewer main or sewer lateral, it breaks, something like that. Who should really have the responsibility? The person who's been living there for 20 years or the person who moved in a week ago? Those are extreme examples, but that's the idea, because that cost is being captured somewhere, whether it's being repaired at the time of the sale, has to be repaired a couple years down the line, or it goes without the repair, and the ratepayers are doing it through issues of I&I. Right now, we also represent the Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority. The biggest issues we have in our system with I&I, and I think John and Joe can say the same, is with sewer laterals, because we can only do work up through the main. And if those laterals don't get repaired, all the work we can do isn't going to prevent the I&I from coming in. We see that a lot actually in Plumstead mostly.
Can
All
you
right,
just say what I&I is?
I&I stands for inflow and infiltration, meaning rainwater gets into the sewer system, sanitary sewer system that is. They're supposed to be separate, causes issues with the plants, as well as leads to violations with DEP and the EPA. So we looked through it. Some of the questions were asked last time about who would be exempt. We took a look at that. It was the idea of certain levels of new construction. If there was an inspection within a certain amount of time previously, that way you're not doing the same thing over and over again, and takes down a little bit of that administrative burden. So I know John and Joe are here, so if you have any additional questions for them, they can help explain things as well.
Is there anything you would like to add? John and Joe? Going in the back? Okay.
I have one question. I am a little concerned. Having done real estate for a number of years, and I've watched the fees on settlement sheets swell and swell and swell. Would it be possible for either, and I know this incurs liability issues, for either the township or the sewer authority, probably the sewer authority, to maintain a list of contractors that would provide this service along with their fee, so that there's transparency, and so that someone isn't getting, John Doe Realtor who's working with Juden Smith plumber to hike the price a couple $100 so that there's a little in it more for everybody. I understand the necessity of doing this. I don't want to create a opportunity for fraud or whatever to be applied to our residents.
So we will have a list of actually currently compiling a list of contractors. As far as the fee, that gets a little harder because generally it will be a flat fee. You will always have properties where access is an issue, accessibility to the line, if there's no cleanouts, things like that, that can change the cost. The best advice I give people when we have this conversation, and I used to do these inspections, is get prices from a couple contractors before you commit to one. But we will maintain a list of contractors. It'll never be a complete list because we're not going to stipulate who people have to use.
Right.
But we will post a list on our website of available contractors that do work in the area, particularly as it relates to the sewer lateral inspections.
Okay.
I'd also suggest that since township's issuing the UNO permit, that Scott and I come up with a disclaimer on that kind of a list that we're both satisfied with.
Right.
Disclaiming liability for both the authority and.
Yeah, we can do that. And I would say something we could say too, when we say contractors, we're really talking about just, there'll be licensed plumbers. Just about most licensed plumbers can do this work that we're asking of the homeowners.
It also states that anyone who does this work has to have their own equipment, meaning they're buying into owning the equipment. They have to be insured, and the insurance has to be within the standards. So the only way we thought we could get responsible people was saying, you got to own your equipment and you got to be fully insured.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions from the board? No? Can I open it up to the public?
And you want to do a motion first?
Can I have a motion to advertise the sewer use ordinance, please?
Removed.
Bill, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Mary Beth? Now that we have a motion on the table, is there any questions from the residents about this ordinance?
Yes, I know.
No? Okay. I shall call the question. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to action item C, discuss the recommendation from the Environmental Advisory Council regarding data centres. And I've forgotten who I was going to throw this to.
You want to start?
Sure.
Or
I'll
on the
start.
start on the administrative side and then I'll get to legal.
Thank you.
Thank you. We received a recommendation from the EAC regarding the township look at data center ordinance. As everybody is aware, this is a rather hot topic currently throughout the Commonwealth and actually throughout the country. It is something that is on the township's radar along with solar panel fields. As a matter of fact, today Doreen Curtin, our zoning officer, attended a seminar on data centers. She will obviously be making a report when she gets back, but it is certainly something that I believe the township will be moving forward with in the near future.
Yeah, just to add, I took a look within their recommendation. The EAC cited to or linked to the model ordinance created by Penn Future. Just looking through that, some of the things you'll need to consider, and if we're going to move forward with this, one, obviously the height of the building within this model ordinance. It's at 60 feet. Obviously, our height limits right now are at 35 feet. Where in the township, i.e. what zoning districts you would look to have this in, setback requirements, what type of permitted use, whether it would be a permitted special exception, conditional use. You know, our recommendation looking through this and looking at these other places, this probably is a use you would want to consider as a conditional use where it comes to you to review, because there are considerations related to the water, siting, and things like that. So a couple things, and then just looking through, there will be some sections unique to your ordinance that we just had to amend as well. So just a lot of stuff to consider with this.
Yeah, we'll be taking a hard look at this, and it's something I'm sure that most municipalities will be, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's model ordinances from a number of organizations that we can take a look at and again, sometimes you just don't invent the wheel, you just change the spokes.
There's several municipalities up north in Lehigh Valley that's area that's already in the process. And Scott and I were talking about the building height. I did notice that. I think I discussed it with them. And they're all in there as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest issues, regardless of where you're gonna allow it or regulate it. You have 35-foot building height throughout this entire township. Other municipalities do not. Especially up north where there's a lot more industrial, larger. So those model ordinances are geared towards that area. Eventually we have a model ordinance down here, but there's several things that are very restrictive, especially for New Britain Township being a lot of one lot water. And there's big impacts to that as well, that if there is a data center come, but all the model ordinances and ordinances that are pending right now are actually at a 60-foot building height, so.
Yeah, I know there's a big push in Chester County for, right now, that East Coventry Township, there is a proposal that's in front of them at the old Penhurst site.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that Chester County, there'll be model ordinances coming out of there also as a result of this. So, yeah, it's on our radar.
Okay, yeah, our zoning ordinances are a living, breathing document, so
Mhm.
you need to abstain. I know that the EAC is here, so, yep. Is there anything you wanted to add briefly? Come forward, just. I know.
I just want to say that, of course, there are lots of things in that model ordinance, which is the one that I've seen really most referred to. It's simply a model.
Yep.
No, we did not think you were going to allow any, but it's, as far as I can see, in this area, it's being accepted as a start. They also don't say that you have to have native plants. And that wouldn't fly either. So I'm happy to hear that the general attitude is that you'd be moving forward. And as you do so, would you be working with the Planning Commission and the EAC?
Any zoning ordinances that we have would be brought forth to both boards and commissions to review as they come through.
Okay, great. Any questions you have for us? And there are lots of, I gave links to various townships that brought in links to various townships. I mean, the web of in process and already instated models is pretty deep.
As Dan said,
Yep.
there's no need to reinvent the wheel when someone's done it.
Right, right. And it's probably pretty important to be consistent or you could get called out on it.
Well, that's why I think Scott mentioned the building height and I did as well. We discussed offline is there's a slippery slope of defining what a data center is and creating a whole new ordinance for that. The industry standard, obviously, if every ordinance and everyone I looked at, I don't know what Scott looked at, said 60 feet. That's ridiculous compared for this township,
Mhm.
not other clients that we have, but for this one. So is it worth it to regulate it through a new ordinance or is it already regulated with building height? We have a very stringent well ordinance requirement that we have here that other people copy for withdrawals for wells or impact to wells as well, for new development or a new data center. If you impact any of the adjacent wells, we have a lot of requirements that other townships do not. So there's different ways of controlling something, and it's not just through, this is one component of it.
Right.
But we got to be careful if we adopt new ordinance and they would say, oh, we're going to leave it at 35 feet. Well, if every other ordinance is not at 30, is higher, that's something that Scott would have to advise on. But you open yourself up then.
I hear what you, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
For one, I have heard there's a massive need for water.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I don't know that it being sited anywhere where it would depend upon a well would even be feasible.
Well, there's an industrial park in our area that has a creek running right.
Mhm.
The creek is not going to satisfy their water needs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
It would have to be a
Yeah.
main 12-inch water line.
And that's right there is where everybody's getting scared in this area. And I think I said never to somebody who's smiling and said, don't ever say never, but there's so many other restrictions. It have to be public water and you'd have to have a large enough site. And then with all the other zoning restrictions we have, I won't say never in public, but it's very restrictive here to develop, as you know, in general. But it's not defined. I think Doreen and I already discussed, like, it's good to go through this, but it'll get, the meat of it will be those zoning restrictions of, you can't write an ordinance and say, well, but you need to be 35-foot high, 100-foot setbacks,
Make it impossible.
and make it impossible. Scott won't be able to defend that in court then. That's the path that you have to decide if you want to go down that path or not, but.
I see the trickiness of it, and we also knew from the beginning that we don't have as much space as they are taking right now either. The one thing about these data centers is it's still early and it's very dynamic. So
That-
the question is,
100%.
how can you protect the township now from something that you don't even know exists that can come before you're ready for it? That's what happened in Virginia, and the world fell apart,
Yeah.
right? Which is why everybody is scrambling now to do what they can.
Mhm.
So if we could find a way through this, it might be wise. Maybe Doreen will come back with some tricks.
It will be a team effort
Thank you.
from many different parts of the township.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And so far, the two I know of Pennsylvania, both Amazon, there was the announcement from the governor recently, obviously Falls Township, the former US Steel site, as well as one up on Susquehanna, right adjacent to that power plant. So, they picked the Delaware River and the Susquehanna River right now as starting places for their cooling.
Jerry Young, 77 Walter Road. Just wanted to add, I'm not advocating for or against, but there are a lot of brownfield developments happening now with data centers as they encounter more challenges with greenfield development. So anything we do put together from an ordinance standpoint or regulation standpoint, we have to make sure we're addressing existing buildings where they're slightly changing their data model. So we just need to make sure we've got everything looked at.
Yes.
And again, that's a standpoint of either for or against, just to make sure that we've got the proper regulations. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. I came across an article that said a town had used the data center underground to use it as their heating source for their town. I went, wow. New and innovative things will keep happening.
Certainly is good for fire control.
I'll do it. Okay, so thank you. Moving on to action item D, consider a motion to authorize to direct the solicitor to draft and advertise an ordinance concerning supervisor compensation pursuant to Act 94 of 2024. Scott.
Yeah, so I was asked to take a look at Act 94, just to take a look at it, what it is, how it would work. So yes, last year, General Assembly passed the Act 94, which does allow for an increase in supervisor compensation by the size of your municipality. We're in the 10,000, as Dan explained earlier, we're in the 10,000 to 14 or to 15,000 range. Prior to last year, that cap was $3,250 per year. That's $3,250 per year, not per meeting, as someone had thought previously. And the new cap is a
Good grief.
$2,200 increase to $5,450. When these go into effect, if you adopt a change, it only goes into effect at the beginning of the next each supervisor's term. So you can't increase your compensation while you sit here for your current term, if you were to choose to go that way. And you can go any amount you want should you entertain this change. You don't have to go all the way up to the $5,450. You can pick any number if you were to increase it or you were to consider this, but this is entirely a policy choice for you guys to figure how you want to move forward.
And I'm just announcing at this point, I am abstaining from both the discussion and the vote.
Since you had just been re-elected and your term would start and be affected by this ordinance?
Yes.
Ordinance. Okay. And I'm sure everyone on this board would say that we do this job and it is sometimes a very challenging job. We do enjoy being up here as part of the township. I could say that we all agree that it is a very rewarding position being a supervisor and being part of the governance of our township. So I will open it with that. Is there any other comments from the board?
I have a comment. I mean, I think you're correct in saying that, you know, we enjoy being up here. It's one of the reasons we're doing that. I look at it as community service. I think that an increase in compensation is unnecessary. Quite frankly, it's such a small amount of money that you get compensated for the time and effort that we're putting in. A little bit more isn't going to make any difference. I think the township taxpayers are already paying enough in terms of benefits that supervisors are able to take in their positions as well. I don't see a need to increase the amount.
Agree with that. I don't see any need to increase this one.
I guess I come at it from, a similar perspective, as Stephanie said, as a community service opportunity. And I don't think any one of us here ran for election because we thought, wow, we're going to make big bucks as supervisors. We do it because we love our community. And I think maybe intentionally keeping it at the same rate helps to maintain that integrity of doing the job because you care about your community.
So I would say from the sentiment of the board that we will pass on this motion. Do I need to make a motion
To pass.
No?
Boom.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Moving on to information items. Departmental reports. The happy part of finances. Okay,
Yo, Nick,
yes, you, finance.
I was waiting for you to say finance and then I was going to jump in. You have Kristen's report in front of you. It is the 10:30 report, not 10:30 at night, but October 30th report for year to date. And I know where Margaret got her information from because it's in here. What I will tell you is the earned income tax, while we get small bits and pieces during the month, each month we get the largest check in the beginning of the next month. So while it shows that we're $700,000 behind, we got a $240,000 check the first week of November that goes to that number. And we usually get about 800,000, and November and December are our biggest months because that's when people pay that haven't paid all year long. They go after the collection. So we anticipate we're going to hit the number. We did it last year. Huh? Pardon me? Yeah, I do. So,
You
but I
did
mean,
actually talk to the people who
collect.
collect, so.
Oh, yeah, we get the estimate. We asked the Keystone.
Yeah.
The collection agency, what the number's going to be, and yes. So we get that from them. But I'd be happy to answer any other questions. In just real quick summary, year-to-date revenue collection is 88%. And year-to-date expenditures are 82%. If those trends hold, again, we'll be in better shape than we were last year at this time. So.
And now that we have a budget, a state budget, we're hoping that we will hear soon about the grant for next year.
Some things are out of our control, and that's one of them, but yes, we can certainly hope.
We can hope. We can always hope. All right, Park and Rec, Alex.
Oh, yes, okay. Well, I can't speak to the rest of their report, never mind. Park and Rec, so they have been busy just maintaining their daily work with the rest of the parks. But in terms of our upcoming event, that's going to be hosted at North Branch, which is Santa House. It was previously at the large Giants Shopping Center in previous years, but we have since moved it. So on December 12th and 13th, we're going to be hosting it here at North Branch Park. So Santa is coming to town. He will be arriving via horse and carriage from Pullman on Friday, and then via fire truck from Chalfont Fire Company on Saturday. We'll have the school choir, so Unami South and West, performing on Friday night, and then we'll have a DJ and Action Karate performing Saturday. And then we'll have activities for children in the pavilion both Friday and Saturday night as well. So letters to Santa, ornaments to take home, kind of goodies for them as well. And then, of course, photos with Santa himself.
And if it is
Yes.
raining or snowing?
You said the
No,
word,
it was-
but.
That would certainly add to the ambiance, so I'm all for that.
Snow, not rain.
Bundle up, bundle up.
Ambiance, because then unluckily the people from Park and Rec have to go out to plow and salt. Whoa.
Just trying to find a positive.
Yeah, nothing. I like a little flurry. But we were lucky enough to get a lot of donations so far in sponsorships. So actually, we're having lights installed from ProLift Garage down the fence, walkway, and also in the pavilion. So that's being done ahead of time, which is really nice.
Lovely. I'm going to ask, where do people park? What would be the expectation? Do you park only up here or are you parking?
No,
No.
so we are
Okay.
closing off the entire kind of back half of the park. So you're gonna park in the front parking lot and then across the front way of the building.
Yep.
And kind of this front parking lot, similar to Fall Fest,
Mhm.
just without the back half.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
All
We
right.
wanted to keep the cars away from the kids.
And I was
And
making.
it's dark, so
Yeah.
even with the lights, it's still dark, so we don't want kids and cars.
yes.
Mixing. Okay, yes. Anything you would like to add, Bill?
Well, at this point, we have our meeting tomorrow night, so.
Yep. Cool. All right. Thank you, Alex. Thank you to the Park and Rec. Public Works.
Yes, you have Ryan's report in front of you. The one item that's not on here, speaking of that dirty W word or white snow word,
Yeah.
is they are prepping. We're ready. The
Light and fluffy
Actually, this morning when I was driving into work, I hit flurries.
Yep.
I
Yes.
ran into a little flurry squall driving in, but the plows are being put on and the salt containers are being put in the back of the trucks. So we're ready if an event were to occur. So,
Happy for snow, no ice. I'm with on
And
that
small
one.
amounts,
little snow.
tiny amounts, just
Little-
enough to make it happy.
All right. Anything else for Public Works? No. Chief, what would you like to tell us about police?
So you have a copy of my report in your packet. I would like to say that next month, we anticipate that we will be promoting a sergeant, promoting an officer to sergeant in order to replace Sergeant Sant.
Mhm.
And we have our giving tree in our police lobby, so feel free to stop by and take some tags. It benefits the families from Butler Elementary and Lenape Valley Foundation.
And what's the time frame for that?
I believe it's the first week in December.
To have everything back?
Yes.
How is your trunk or treat?
Very, very interesting. Um, We moved it inside of the new season's assisted living, which actually added an additional component that I think we should try next year, and that's that some of the residents there actually were handing out candy. So they set up in their community room, and kids could go around and they were all handing out candy. Not all of them, but there's a good amount of them that were handing out candy and interacting with the people that were coming to trunk or treat.
That's lovely.
Nice to hear. Okay. Anything else?
I believe that's it.
Okay. On to zoning. Dan.
Guess that'd be me again. You have Doreen's report in front of you. As you can see, she continues to add to it. The office is extremely busy. If there's any questions on any of the particular items, I would suggest you talk to Doreen. But, between what she does in her office, the building code, and Craig's work with it, just, the township's extremely busy. There's a lot going on there's a lot going on when it comes to day-to-day activities in those offices. Big project wise, there's only a couple, but small, little things are happening constantly.
And I know at election day, when we're all out in the public and we get a lot more questions and things, I know that we've added something on the front of the website, a request for service where residents can come and add those questions that might require a little bit more thoughtful time and investigation, that sometimes goes to Doreen or
Yeah,
Brian
it's
or
directed to whatever.
whoever it is.
Yeah.
Yep. but that's a great.
And they
place to start.
usually, a lot of those requests are cross-departmental,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
I did know from Doreen's, and I know this is sort of her area. She has spoken to me before about it. The idea that our general zoning requirements don't fit a lot of neighborhoods that were built before the zoning, and that we have a lot of residents that have to file for a variance when they want to build a shed or something like that. And talking about, I don't know whether that's an overlay district, but I would like you to follow up with her on that.
We're
And
aware of it.
Greg
All
and,
right, sorry.
Yeah.
We are fully aware of it. We don't all agree.
Yeah.
okay, well, bring something to us.
I
that-
don't support that concept, so. I'm
We-
sure-
yeah.
I don't know if Scott's aware of it, but in other townships, they had an overlay of every development. And if, that way, we don't have as many, we don't have the density as some of these other townships where you're getting constant requests. So I understand the concept, and honestly, with another client, I probably would recommend that with the high density and just zoning's outdated, but I think the way it's working right now is fine. We don't have a lot of zoning requests. We really don't.
We don't.
And Dan, I haven't spoke, so I didn't know.
I don't think I was talking about doing this overlay. I think that's a little,
Well, no, it's each development. So like
yeah, no, I just,
each development would have their own that's out if the zoning doesn't match, but it's always, you can't catch everything. It would be a big undertaking. I
okay,
would do it if you had a budget and you were looking for, like, you're too busy and you don't have the money to sit there and to go through every development and kind of have their own overlay zoning for existing residents.
I thought that would be a little too problematic.
It's, I like the concept, but it doesn't fit here, and it's just too costly, and
For the amount of variances that we request that we get.
that's the key. In other townships I do, it's a lot. You have every 2 weeks you're meeting, you have 4 to 6 applicants. It's the same variance, yes. And like the A lots, we've had that issue here forever since I've been here, the A lots. But no one ever proposed to, fix that. She laughing over there?
Yeah, I won't mention things about that right now in public, but.
So
yeah.
my answer is we want to explore it. It sounds like Dan agrees, and I'm sure Scott does it. Right now, it's just too cumbersome and costly to do that, but if we see a pattern, then that would be something different in the future.
Okay.
And was there not something in our wonderful new budget that might help our residents with that?
I think there
In-
was.
The interactive zoning map?
Yes.
That might be able to help with. some-
Approved, as part of the budget process, and we'll start working on that in the new year. Once we adopt the budget, then in January, it actually goes into effect.
But anything we can do to help our residents would be great. Okay. Craig, engineers report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have my November report. Just highlight a few things. I think everybody probably saw that the Wawa was demoed at County Line and Butler. And the car wash is anxious to get started with construction. There's always a few items that are left to be done before they can start. The other project you'll see was the Tractor Supply. They're just about ready to go as well. Obviously, there's not a lot of construction. This is over at Chalfont Village Shopping Center. Is that correct? That'll be more internal. You won't see, obviously, that was a waiver of land development and more related to the actual use than site work. But I'm hoping when that's done, they really worked with us at the end, or my office more anything, to spruce up the front. And they've agreed to comply with most of the overlay district requirements now. You asked for landscaping, but there's going to be some fencing and some other things. So they've kind of gone above and beyond. So I'm hoping that turns out nice. But those two will be starting. And then one last thing, just because we mentioned about.
Before you move on, just because I drove past there today with where the old Wawa was, I had seen that they had put the construction fencing all the way to the curb, and so blocking off the sidewalk. Does that stay like that for the whole project, or is that just while they're doing demo?
So this will surprise you. I'm not involved and don't know the answer.
Okay,
That is a building code requirement.
so that will be a.
That's a
Dan?
building code requirement. Typically that gets that would only be during demo to protect the pedestrians.
People in the car.
Yeah, so there, I don't think there's any requirement during construction. If that's an issue, someone complained, then that's something Randy could look into, and I would make that call with him during construction, but during demo,
Mhm.
that's a whole set of building code
Yeah.
requirements, and I don't do any inspections for that.
It was just a thought of that.
No, I
that
didn't,
it's
I didn't
been
even.
Very busy and no sidewalks available.
And then this, the last comment is, we did discuss at staff level, and we did the zoning and Saldo updates. We had some smaller updates to the street and sidewalk ordinance and your earth disturbance erosion control ordinance or lack thereof. So we're going to, copy and paste from some other stuff, some other ordinances that Scott and I work with. And then we already did most of that work as part of the ordinance because they have to all match. All the definitions have to match, especially related to stormwater and driveway culverts and piping. You put in a driveway, but it's still stormwater related as far as the gutter lines. So we talked about doing that early next year, finalize that and bring it on. Now, those are minor updates. I'm recommending you actually establish a earth disturbance grading ordinance, and Doreen is familiar with that. We don't have that here. So that'll be in this early 2026.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Board of Supervisors comments. I'm going to start with Bridget.
All right, amazing. So we had I want to thank all of our veterans and Chief who was there at our Veterans Day ceremony. We ended up bringing it inside because it was really, really cold and windy that day. I'm not even sure. Is the sign still up, Alex, or did the wind blow it down today? The sign's still up. Okay, so we did put out we weren't sure how it was going to hold up with all this wind. It was a little bit unanticipated, but there are 660 flags that were placed adjacent to the Veterans Monument Memorial with a sign that describes that it is to make awareness that there are approximately 22 veteran suicides per day, which adds up to 660 veteran suicides a month. So it's a major thing, and to, encourage people to get help because obviously we all appreciate the efforts of our veterans. Sort of tying into that, I am doing a black belt project and I have created a donation drive. It is just, it's for the coalition to support and shelter homeless, the Code Blue Shelter in Central Bucks County. I will be collecting here hot hands, hot toes, small individually wrapped high-calorie nutrition snacks, protein bars, peanut butter and cheese crackers, fruit cups, as well as gift cards. There is a lockbox that'll be out the window, $5 to $10 fast food gift cards, or $10 to $25 gift cards for gas. Last year, I worked as a volunteer numerous nights overnight in the Code Blue shelter. So that is when they call a Code Blue. It's below freezing, Chief, for when they call a Code Blue.
Yeah, usually below freezing. Period of time.
So basically, it's a life-threatening situation. If the unhoused population cannot come in, we might have fatalities. So it's to help prevent fatalities. And because I live in the strange part of New Britain Township where I cross over both Montgomery County and Bucks County, I knew about the Lansdale one, so that's where I volunteered. And a significant amount of people that I encountered were veterans. Other ones were domestic abuse survivors. And it just really, I thought that was quite a meaningful way to give back to our community. I would love it if you could support this project, but obviously I know everybody is struggling with financials. So just any support is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Mary Beth?
Well, that's hard to follow up.
Sorry.
No, but thank you. And I appreciate all the help you joined with me last year in collecting for the victims of
For the hurricane.
Helene down in North Carolina.
Yes, our community support was tremendous for that.
So I enjoyed the veterans service very much. It was very well attended. And I appreciate all the work that staff did that went into that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Bill?
Luckily, I could not be at the Veterans, but I was there in spirit.
You are.
But, I look forward to our upcoming visit with Santa, so we'll see how that goes in December. So that's it.
Stephanie?
I think everything's been covered. In the interest of time, I'll defer today.
Yes. Thank you everyone for coming out on Veterans Day, Election Day, Veterans Day, and all the best for Thanksgiving. Okay, public comment. Do we have any public who would like to stand? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Margaret Briggs, Forest Park Drive, Chalfont. I'll make this very quick. So we had the Bristol Road Extension presentation at UNAMI. I went to that. You were there, Cynthia.
Yep.
And we have a new environmental contact with PennDOT. So I took the opportunity to let her know that we have a new native plant list, and it would be really great if they followed something like that, at least in New Britain Township owned land impacted by Bristol Road Extension. Nate was very busy. He was politicking and talking to a lot of people. So I didn't get a chance to talk to him about our new lighting regulations, but should they decide they want to put lights along the pedestrian path, make sure that they comply with our lighting, I will point him in the right direction to our new ordinance. That is all.
Okay.
And I have that information on the new environmental contact if anybody wants it.
I did just pick up today all the boards that were at that meeting at UNAMI. So we have them here at some point. We'll have them out and about so people could come see them if they'd like to. So anyone else? Please come forward and state your name and address. And you can sit down if you want to.
I might sit down. I may not be as brief. Yes, I'm Wendy Bingaman and I live on Keller Road. I'm probably more well-known as the bridge steward or the bridge witch of Keller Road. So the Keller Road Bridge evidently has a long history within the township. And I can see Mary Beth, you're nodding already, and you're going, oh my gosh. So I guess I've lived at my property for 31 years next to the bridge. And I know it was last revamped in 1996. Ordinarily, I would have thought that a steel grid bridge would have lasted much longer than 28, 29, 30 years. This bridge, unfortunately, is not very pretty. But in any event, I guess over the years, for some reason, it was in a rural part of the township, and the bridge, even though it met the length dimensions, it was never registered with PennDOT or put on the National Bridge Registry. And so until 2022, I contacted PennDOT. They came out and they said, oh gosh, this bridge is 37 feet in length. This bridge should be on the National Bridge Registry and it should be subject to biannual audits. So lo and behold, in 2022, PennDOT started auditing the bridge. Good deal. So they've done an audit in 2022. I can't recall, Dan, they may have found some violations. The bridge is now on a 6-month audit schedule. The last audit report I saw was in November of 2024. I know there's been an audit in May of 2025, and there was just an audit last week. So in any event, as a resident, Keller Road is a lovely road. The watershed below the bridge is lovely. It's beautiful. So unfortunately, over the years, the gabion cages under the bridge eroded. They got washed into the stream bed to the point where the stream flow was essentially occluded. So I'm the bad guy. I contacted DEP. They came out and looked at it. And I know Gilmore and the township has been involved in working with PennDOT and DEP to correct some violations. It's a significant improvement underneath the bridge. I want to thank the township. I want to thank Dan. I want to thank Public Works for all the work they've done in 2024. The waterway under the bridge, I can't use the word beautiful, but it's a significant improvement than what it was before. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. Now, I know the township has had many discussions about what the future of the bridge should be. Because to replace the bridge at some point in time, I understand will be quite expensive, likely several $million. And so for a small, essentially one-lane road with a minimum number of traffic, I think a traffic study was done, Dan, I want to say 2, 3, 4 years ago, is estimated that like 25 or 30 cars used Keller Road. My impression is that the majority of that traffic is cut-through traffic. There's 4 residents on Keller Road. The majority of the traffic on Keller Road is cut-through traffic, and the majority of that cut-through traffic occurs in morning and evening rush hour, primarily evening rush hour. So for the past 5 years, I've been communicating via email to the township. Because it's a steel grid bridge, there's a certain amount of noise associated with those bridges just because of the flexion of when vehicles transit the bridge. So I would say for the past 4 years, the noise was tolerable. It was a nuisance. In the past 3 months, there has been an exponential increase in the noise volume. I don't want to exaggerate. It literally sounds like a gunshot going off or someone standing on the bridge and hitting it with a sledgehammer. It is, I have like a Pavlov dog's reaction now when I hear the bridge. I'm like, here comes a car. And I just wait for the noise. Dan, I don't know if you've been there when traffic has gone over the noise. It's loud. So what I've done, my son was an engineer. He worked at Gilmore for a little bit. I said, I'm going to get out I'm going to download my NIOSH sound meter monitor app. Okay, I go underneath the bridge. It's 100 decibels. I go 50 feet from the bridge. It's over 80 decibels. The township has an unnecessary noise ordinance. Completely understand the unnecessary noise ordinance was not intended to be used for things like bridge structures. You know, it's somebody setting off fireworks. It's somebody having a loud party. But this is an unnecessary noise, and I would put it in the noise pollution category. Unfortunately, I can't escape it. My house is where it is. It's half a football length from the field. I can hear the bridge noise inside my house with the window shut. It's just outrageously loud. So short term, I don't know if the township, I know the township has spent probably more than they wanted to take care of the current PennDOT and DEP repairs, which are now finished. I know Public Works, I hope Dan did the majority of the work, so there was minimal financial hardship on the township to make those repairs. I wish the township would consider maybe getting a structural engineer from Gilmore or potentially a welder to look at the bridge. There's one bridge section where there's a short grid. It's very unusual. It's only 20 inches wide and 19 feet long. The grid is not attached to the beams at all. It's no longer welded to the beams. It's only attached to the end beams. And so whenever vehicles transit, there's a flex in the grid and they bang the beam and there's a rod that goes through the beam and the rod bangs. So it's loud. So I don't know whether short-term, whether the township would consider getting a welder. I did check with one of my neighbors. He worked for Hinkle and McCoy for 30 years. He said, oh, yeah, if you had 2 welders certified weld PA, PennDOT certified welders come in, a day's work for one welder, they could potentially weld that bridge, or they could come in and say, nah, we can't weld this grid. It's done. The only way to fix this is to replace the whole beam and grid structure. I don't know that answer. But anyway, I'm very interested in hearing from the Board of Supervisors. Really, I know you had many discussions about the bridge for many years. I'm just interested. I know it's a low priority for the township. I know the township doesn't want to spend any resource or money on it. I absolutely know that. But as a resident, I can tell you the noise is so loud and unusual. I can't think of driving over any other bridge, even a steel grid bridge, and hearing that noise. And if you haven't driven over it, I would encourage you to just drive over and hear it. There's a non-enforceable 5 mile per hour speed limit, but the bridge is at the bottom of the hill. Vehicles do not go 5 miles an hour. Maybe some very nice neighbors go, oh, this is really loud, and they do take the time to go 5 miles over the bridge, cut through traffic with pickup trucks and trailers, UPS, FedEx trucks, oil trucks. Nope, they just barrel on down the hill, bang. So, I mean, it was good for me to come tonight and hear kind of the full budget discussion and the priorities of the township, so that I can kind of put my request in perspective to everything else the township has going on. I appreciate everything you guys do, but this noise from the bridge now is just, I had to come speak to you tonight because it's just so unusual and so out of the ordinary. So I know the township does not want to spend $2 million to fix the bridge. And Mary Beth, I was kind of intrigued by your comment that you worked in real estate, and my thoughts go through my head like, oh gosh, the value of my property is sinking because it's next to this bridge. And, you know, if I ever do want to move, that it's just, I don't know how to explain to people that it's got this noise here. So I'm just very interested in your feedback in terms of whether the township, what type of discussions you have, and, you know, what you can share with me this evening.
Well, we thank you first for coming to the township and to coming to the Board of Supervisors
Yeah,
and
thank you.
bringing this towards us.
Yeah.
But I will hand it off to Scott to give us a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
it's something we talk about every month. We are looking at it, and all options are on the table right now.
Oh, you
Obviously,
talk about the bridge every month?
well,
More than that.
more than that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Costing a lot of money.
Well, no. And
no, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, all options are on the table right now. Obviously, you're aware of the last time, PennDOT was out here last week.
Yeah.
We're looking at that. We've been reaching out to the different, community stakeholders, our EMS, fire, ambulance, all those people to see,
Understand.
just trying to figure out what the best options are. So we're looking at all that. And also, I think we can take a look at from the sound perspective and things like that. So yeah, all options are on the table, and we're doing what we can.
Okay.
I'll just add, there's two separate things. One, because you mentioned Gilmore several times, and we have been involved with the permitting for the creek crossing, the bridge repairs for the Gabions. And then Public Works and the township are involved in the minor repairs. They've done them.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
the welding. Just want to separate those because a lot of times, I don't know if you've reached out to me before.
Yeah.
That's the Public Works side of day-to-day repairs. And at some point, they're not going to keep making repairs if PennDOT's going to come in and say, hey, you got to replace this, or we got to close down the road. So right now, we're waiting for the next PennDOT, which I think Dan probably mentioned to you. Public Works is not go out and going to do anything until PennDOT does that next audit. I mean, it'd be silly to do that. They may come back with a lot more than what you even mentioned tonight, so.
Did you ever get the May 2025 report?
No, I never heard about that one.
But because now they're doing the
Yeah, because when they did the one last year, they had they required us to do the minor repairs.
Yeah.
We got that within 3 weeks of the inspection. So obviously the May one didn't have anything in it that was significant,
Yeah.
or it was just a minor inspection. It wasn't a major. My understanding was a yearly inspection.
Yeah.
So I think they were just going out in May to look at the repairs we made.
No, right or wrong.
Yeah, I have another client who has a similar situation with a bridge. Same sort of thing. It's being looked at every 6 months, but they don't produce a report every 6 months. They kind of wait for the annual one to produce the report. But if there's any things they need you to address, they send the municipality that information.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Craig, I was going to ask you, I think we had gotten some numbers last year or the year before about what it would cost to replace that bridge.
Well, we gave you different options and they
Yeah.
were in the $1 million range. And then there's ones where just replacing the decking would be maybe less than $1 million. But it all depends on when you remove that steel and the I-beams. Are the I-beams okay? Is the concrete foundation okay? And we don't know that. So PennDOT does that inspection. We've inspected as well. The noise is the great. I agree with what you're saying. The noise is the great. We're looking way beyond that, but I think you're anywhere from $500,000 to 2 million, depending on what we do. And that'll be, obviously, that's not in the budget. So that's why we do talk about a lot. We're pretty much internally discussing different options to present to you when PennDOT comes back with X, Y, or Z, and then we'll react to it at that point. So it's a little premature. The only recommendation I'd be is if Public Works could look at any type of neoprene gasket just temporarily to deaden the sound. It sounds like the welds broke. I think Ryan's aware of that. I'm not sure.
They've tried.
They keep trying and it breaks right away. So, yeah.
No, I think at this point, we're waiting for the PennDOT report.
Yeah. So that'll be out,
Yeah.
should be out soon.
Like rubber shims, they've tried, putting other steel plate welds to weld the grids together. The latest thing they tried, and I give them creativity points, was they tried zip ties. So, you know, they're trying, I think.
Duct tape next.
I think it's at the point where it's, well, we could try that, but I think it's beyond the point, quite honestly, where it's in Public Works capability. They have done amazing, unbelievable things with the erosion control underneath the bridge. Kudos to Public Works. They did an unbelievable job. I'm very grateful to them, a great bunch of guys. But now I just think, you know, whether it needs welding or bolts or whatever, it's just, it may be just beyond what they're able to do.
That's up to PennDOT. They'll let us know when we get
Yeah,
the report.
okay, okay,
Thank you.
okay, yeah, right. So I'm on is there any kind of time frame for any kind of decision?
We're waiting for PennDOT.
And I can, like I said, Dan said, we can get a report within
Yeah,
3
you got
weeks.
the, yeah.
We can get the report within 3 months. It's just,
I
I love
some
that.
things off the records that the PennDOT guys.
That's
Yep.
I suggest you're the public meeting.
Yeah.
You're
Off the
public
record's a
meeting.
good idea with that one. So, thank you.
Pardon me?
I would say, yeah, off the record's probably the better way to go with that, but
It is
yeah,
better.
thank you.
It is better, but I mean, I know from the report in May of 2024, I mean, they're starting to see holes in the steel beams. So they're starting to see holes in the beams and, you know, I know their measurements, you know, a difference between lowering a weight limit can be like 1/16 of an inch or 1/32 of an inch. So, you know, Craig even may know better than me, so.
Can I interrupt you 1 second? Because we got to wrap this. It's public comment, but once PennDOT now is involved, we have to follow PennDOT standards. So zip ties, I know, do not meet PennDOT standards, and there's other things that, but I'm saying is now that there's a much arduous and detailed process that we follow PennDOT now. I mean, this isn't, PennDOT does the inspection, the bridge is registered now. Any type of repairs or designs like that or fixes have to follow PennDOT standards now. So I agree with everybody saying is when PennDOT comes out with a report, Public Works and the staff will evaluate it. If it's structural, they'll probably come to us to look at it. And then decision will be made on budget issues and then what to do with the road in general will come up last. That's going to take months and months and months.
Yeah. And in our talks, I would say, I feel like we will have, when we get the PennDOT answer and things we've been talking about, they'll sort of be giving us the answer of what we're going to have to do with it.
Here's the road. PennDOT doesn't give a hoot about noise. PennDOT does not give a hoot about noise. So that's why I'm coming to the township and say, township, you have an unnecessary noise municipal code. And I don't know whether you guys have an ANSI certified noise detector. Probably the number of noise violations you've had in the township are probably less than 5. You don't have them, right? This is different. The noise coming from that bridge is greater than 80 decibels, and it's kind of a round peg in a square hole because the noise from that bridge is greater than 80 decibels. It's loud. And so I'm saying PennDOT doesn't deal with noise. I feel the noise issue is a township, it's a municipal level issue because New Britain Township has an unnecessary noise code.
Speaking of noise.
All we can do is wait for the next report and then we can make a decision from there, as in we can make a better way to move forward. So,
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Yep.
New Britain Township has an unnecessary noise.
We do, but that also requires someone to enforce it against. And
Yes, yeah. Who's responsible? Who owns the bridge? The township.
understand, but yeah, but people driving across that as well. I mean, it is a road and we have to take it.
Public-
Yes.
Public,
And the public roads tend not to fall under that noise ordinance.
yeah, but the township owns the bridge.
I understand what you're saying, but that's what we're doing. We've been looking at it and we're going to continue to move forward, but
Asking you to look at the unnecessary noise code too. I understand PennDOT is responsible for the structural issues of the bridge. Completely understand that. But the secondary issue now is the noise. The grids on the bridge are becoming loose and now it may not be a structural injury, a structural.
those are things we'll continue, along with PennDOT, those are considerations we're considering as well. But until we get the PennDOT report, as well as some stuff back from some stakeholders, that's when we'll have the decision.
But I'm asking you to look at the unnecessary.
And we are including that. Yes, we are. That is a part of our review.
When will I find out your conclusion on the unnecessary noise?
When we need everything and it'll be comprehensive when it comes from PennDOT.
It's 25 cars that go over, and within a month, that's 25 times 30. That's like 700 times I hear that bridge.
And like we said, when we have everything comprehensive, we've asked for stakeholders, we're working with PennDOT, we're working with everything. We'll have a comprehensive report when we're done.
Okay, well, I'm asking the township to look at the unnecessary noise code.
And we've said we will include that with our comprehensive report.
Okay, and when's the comprehensive report going to be done? When you get the PennDOT report?
When we get the PennDOT report, yes, we need everything.
Okay, but I'm just going to tell you, PennDOT's not going to deal with noise.
Thank
And-
you.
No, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Unless you're on 422 or 202 or whatever, then they care about noise. Keller Road Bridge, down, about noise. Okay.
Right. Thank you very much. Right. Are there any other public comments for tonight? No, we got Deb before you.
This Deborah Dunn. I just hear the bridge too, but I think it's dangerous. In all honesty, close it. Close the road temporarily till you get the PennDOT report, put up barricades or check it because the noise is unbelievable. Personally, it doesn't bother me, but I'm pretty far away. But because the road got the bridge got reset, it's 26 tons from 7 tons. Now we get everything that is huge. And the Public Works repaved the road. Good, okay, that's great. The road can't handle 26 tons, just saying. So if you want to just rate the road, because it was just a path, then close it.
Okay, thank you. Any more public comment?
No, it's getting late. I'll try to be really fast. Kathleen Davis, 32 Clearview. I didn't come here planning to say this. It's going to sound like a complaint. It's really a comment and a suggestion. When I saw the escrow release to Hallmark Homes, I was very surprised and it stabbed me in a real sore spot. I've been telling people for over a year that developer, like many developers, but that developer scraped off the topsoil and took it away. We planted trees there, tree tenders planted trees there over the past couple years. And we were shocked by what we were trying to put shovels in. It was not soil. It wasn't even subsoil. I can't even tell you. It was yellow. It looked like something that maybe you would expect to dig out from underneath your basement. Putting stuff in it was a nightmare. We were back this year, planting more trees, fortunately not down where it was so badly scraped, but more up on a berm. But that homeowner has been telling me for a while that they can't grow in on their lawns, what is not the conservation easement, but the lawns. And he's angry about it. And he said, I will come testify to your board of supervisors about this. I have pictures of the dirt piles that were gone. So my suggestion would be, maybe before you let these developers completely off the hook with all their escrow and everything else, Talk to the homeowners or go to the HOA, which it often is these days, and see if everything's on the up and up. I mean, it's common knowledge, but you can hardly ever prove it, that developers take the topsoil.
Plus I have to be there 24/7.
You would, while cameras maybe, I
Okay.
don't know. Something, because this is illegal and it's really shameful for us to treat our future tax-paying homeowners this way. They have to build raised beds to do anything at all, but it's a mess. It's really a mess. And I saw this, you just got me right here because I was there Friday planting.
Just, that was related to public improvements. Now there is this thing in there about respraying topsoil. It comes up a lot. I think one of the board members mentioned to me, I'll mention to our guys again, but we haven't been on that job site looking since once the homes go up. There's a lot of times where there's stuff being done on the property. There's pools, there's decks, there's other construction, and we'll go out and it's disturbed again. So we may inspect it originally, but then, a subcontractor's in there that we're not responsible for. Originally, yes, it's supposed to have the topsoil.
We're
And-
talking about scraping.
And the county, just so you know, if there's no grass growing, then it doesn't pass the county. They're actually involved. What?
It's bad grass.
It's bad grass. All right. Well, that's not the requirement. It says stabilized. This is the problem where I understand what you're saying. I get a lot of complaints because the topsoil is not 6 inches or 9 inches. It's 3 or 4 typically. It's hard to regulate. We are not, well, that's a small project. We are not out on every lot. In fact, we're only out there to look at the public improvements and the house construction. We do look at everything else, but a lot of things change. And I'm not saying every lot is the same, but some lots are worse than others. I agree with you. There's a lot of wash off, but the county signs off on all the grass. And once it's stabilized, I'm not out there with a shovel digging to look. My guys aren't out there checking to measure at that point. It's stabilized. That's the number one thing. So, but we have talked about internally to keep an eye more on that. It's usually the single family homes, not the townhomes or apartments, things like that. So, and it does happen now. And we did have an issue years ago, way back. I think Bill remembers people taking topsoil off all the municipalities, removing topsoil, selling it. Yeah, it's very hard. We are only out there when there's construction. There's months and months where we're not out there, and it's hard for the township staff in my office to control. So
I know it's hard to control.
usually if they don't get the grass growing, then I know there's not topsoil. So we go by the county, they come out and sign off on it first on the stabilization. I sign off on the house construction and everything related to that. But we are aware of it.
Okay, I know you're aware of it. We have an ordinance. It's illegal to scrape off that topsoil, not put it back.
There's no document. If you show me documentation, I'm more than happy. What was done tonight has nothing to do with that. That's dedication of the road.
Just got me because I saw it and it's okay, that's it. We're closing the books on them. And the timing was just bad. But I would like the township to consider what they can do. This is my suggestion, whether it's cameras or I don't know what it is, but developers do these things. And our taxpayers are the victims. They're being got, and then. of course-
That's not accurate at all on that situation. That's not public improvement. There's no taxpayer dollars.
No. I mean, the people who are the taxpayers of our township are being victimized by someone who is breaking the rules. And they buy a house and it doesn't have the soil that it ought to have, and they expect to come in with this big yard and do stuff with it, which isn't
So they don't check that themselves either?
go out and dig to see. I don't think new home.
But you're asking us to do that too. I
It's-
check it when it's first done and there's not even grass growing and then it gets washed away. Things happen. Yes, but there's a lot of different scenarios on different lots. You're talking single family homes.
Yes. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Yep, thank you. Are there any other public comments? No? Okay. Announcements. Fall yard waste starting here at the Township Building tomorrow, November 8th through Saturday, November 22. Park and Rec Commission meeting tomorrow night here at the Township Building at 7 p.m. Veterans Committee meeting from Wednesday, November 19th has been cancelled. I'm getting there.
Okay, I was just making sure you were still canceled.
On Thursday, the 20th, we have the zoning hearing board at 7 PM. We have the planning commission has been cancelled for November 25th. The building will be closing early at 1 PM on Wednesday, November 26th. It will then be closed for Thanksgiving and Black Friday, so November 27th and November 28th. The next Board of Supervisors meeting on December 1st has been cancelled. We do have an American Red Cross blood drive here at the Township Building on December 2 from 10 to 3. Please make an appointment. And I have a feeling there is a link on our website. Environmental Advisory Council meeting will be on Wednesday, December 3 here in this room at 7 PM. We have both Representative Labs and Representative Munro here for their mobile office hours on Wednesday, December 10 at 10 AM. And then Santa House here at North Branch Park after the wonderful description we've had either on Friday, December 12th and Saturday, December 13th from 5 to 7 PM. Do I have a motion to adjourn at 8:47 PM?
So moved.
I thought nobody would say that. Stephanie, do I have a second?
Second.
Mary Beth, all those in favor, please say aye. Motion passes. We will see everyone here on Monday, December 15th at 7 PM.